อามินมาสเตอร์อยู่อย่างลับๆเนี่ยคืออะไรวะเนี่ย
Glad to see you again.
สวัสดีครับ
Have the gall to show
เจ้า
me
ยังมา
your
หา
face
ใครอีก
again.
เหรอฮะ
I'll call the guards.
ข้าจะเรียกการ์ด
Hold your horses.
ใจเย็นก่อนใจเย็นก่อน
I'll come in peace.
ไม่ได้มาหาเรื่องโว้ย
Actually, I have a little offer for you.
You've come to blackmail me again.
Call it what you like. I need to get into the city council assembly. And I reckon you can help me.
The assembly? The one King Sigismund is supposed to attend in person?
Surely you wouldn't deny me a chance to meet the king.
Don't try that on me. This is connected with Ruthard, isn't it? And tell the truth.
I want to know what Sigismund tells the council. I hear it'll be important.
You want to spy? Do you know what you're risking? And what I'd be risking? Forget it.
Have you forgotten I have you over a barrel? If you want to keep your position and your head on your shoulders, you better shape up.
All right, all right. Maybe we can make a deal. If I get you into the council, you'll behave appropriately and you won't betray yourself, or especially me. And that will be the end of our business together.
And how about a few groschen to seal?
Are you trying? I'll get... You can get an... He's rough, although...
Who's this?
Frantas, isn't... Which reminds me, you'll need his letter of permission to serve in the council. Otherwise, you won't be let inside.
What will I need to work as a waiter there?
Fast feet and good manners. And the livery of a royal waiter.
Excuse me?
Do you think you can serve the king in a torn shirt and muddy hose?
Well, no. But I never heard about any livery before.
Our usual waiter had a brand new livery made specially for meeting the king. Don't even show up there without it.
Where can I find the cook's boy?
He's supposed to pick up his new clothes at the market today. That is, if...
At the what?
That German alehouse, the Iron Eagle. That is...
มันนี่ไม่ชอบเราก็ไม่ชอบมัน
You must be Franta Cooldown.
I am. And who might you be?
I'm Henry. I heard you're supposed to serve at the city council assembly.
I am. What's it to you?
Supposing I took the job on for you. You can put your feet up, fill your belly, and I'll do all the work for you.
Look here. It's not like I'm all that keen on it, but it's well paid. Apart from that, it's a bit of a pain in the arse. Them councillors stuffing their faces and guzzling wine while I run around like a bugger with pitchers so they don't run dry. Why would you want to stick your nose in there?
I want to see the king in the flesh.
Why's that?
Well, I heard a lot about him. How he won lots of battles, how he's courageous, just...
And as bad-tempered as the devil. He's got the councillors shitting themselves, fearing what's coming at this assembly. The more I think about it, the happier I am about not having to be there. To begin with, you'll need confirmation that you've worked as a waiter at the council and you're capable of serving even His Majesty. Look here. Do you have any idea what's expected of you? Can you tell different wines apart and that?
Of course. Who do you take me for?
All right. No need to get upset. Show the confirmation to the head butler. Tell him I sent you.
Confirmation ให้
Think
head
up some
butler
good excuse. Clear?
เพราะว่าเราส่ง
That
ไป
makes sense.
And you'll need a waiter's livery. I had a brand new one made. Here it is. I look like a prick in it. Hopefully it'll sit better on you. The main thing is, don't lose it before the assembly or get it covered in shit.
Thanks. I won't disgrace you, I promise.
You better not. Take care.
Franta Cooldown sent me. I'm to stand in for him at the council assembly.
Franta's not coming. What's wrong with him?
He got poisoned. Probably from food. He's writhing in agony. By turns praying and cursing, spewing from both ends.
Oh, that's enough. All right. At least you're here. You can't be without a waiter here when the king himself will need waiting on. So, let's have a look at you. Have you got Franta's certificate?
Sure. Here it is.
Everything's in order. Now, about your livery. You've got a waiter's cap, a tunic you have. Hose are good. You can put your steel aside in front of the council chamber, along with your other stuff. You won't be needing it anyway. You don't want to be dragging a load if you're running around tables. Everything as it should be. Glad to see it, lad. Do you know what your duties are? For an inexperienced greenhorn like you, it'll be a great
จะ
responsibility.
เป็นปัญหาแน่ๆถ้าเราเสิร์ฟของได้ไม่ดีใช่เปล่า Happy turn
I'll happily listen to any advice. I wouldn't want to foul things up.
I should certainly hope not. Now listen.
ฟัง
A good waiter should
คน
stand
เสิร์ฟ
in a
ที่ดี
corner,
จะต้องยืนอยู่
look
ขอบ
willing
มุม
and ready, and not
พร้อม
get in
ที่จะ
anyone's
เสิร์ฟ
way.
แล้วก็ไป
In short,
อย่าไปขวางทางใคร
behave as if
และ
you're not
ง่ายๆคือ
there. But when one of the gentlemen
พยายาม
calls
ทำตัว
for
เหมือนไม่อยู่นั่น
wine, you run
ถ้าเขาเรียกเอา
pour
ไว
it
น์
him on the
จะต้อง
double.
ไม่ให้เขาแบ
You'll
บ
find the
รวดเร็ว
pictures on a table by the door to the
จะ
chapel.
มี
You take one
พิษ
and
อยู่
go to their
ไม่
table and pour for
ไปที่โต๊ะนั้น
them
แล้วก็
white Akai
เทให้เขา
or red monastery wine.
White or red by the door
White
to
or
the
red?
chapel. Got it.
But for Councillor Adam of Zarjitz, you must not pour at all. When he drinks, he disrupts and makes trouble. So the assembly has to be interrupted, or otherwise it never reaches an end. We can't allow that to happen in the presence of the king.
All right. Sir
Sir
Adam
Adam
of Zarjit stays
Salasius
dry.
And if
Stay
the
dry.
king himself wants wine, you pour for him with lowered eyes. Don't look at him. And the most important thing?
stay on the
To
background
stay in the background and keep quiet until someone asks me something.
Correct. The councillors have a lot to discuss, and they certainly don't need any interruptions. And in general, a good waiter has to be invisible, blind, and deaf.
Oh? I thought I had to keep my ears pricked.
Well, yes, but only to what anyone wants from you. No excuses, and provide everything that anyone wants from you. Understood?
Absolutely. I'm a waiter after all, not some street gossip monger.
Correct. And if you manage not to botch it up, you can even rise on the social ladder. Not just anyone can serve the king of Hungary, but you'll manage it. Right?
I know everything I need to.
พร้อมแล้ว ไป
I
กัน
can
เล
do
ย
it.
Excellent.
Dima.
Put away your things here. It's easier to serve with a lighter load. You can wait in the cubbyhole for the servants.
มาทำเควสหลักเฉยวันหวังว่าจะไม่นานนะ
There are the pictures of wine.
Picture of wine
Hopefully I won't splash anyone's shoes.
Waffen arsenal is a joke, and on top of that, the army was requisitioning from it. Should the town reserve have worse weapons than
I'd
any
like some
Räuber
white.
in the domain?
What are you getting at, Eldris?
ไว้
I'm saying that the bandits who freed Henning, the Dry Devil, used that thing. That Hackenbücher. Hand cannon.
Boy,
can you believe
are you
it?
deaf or something?
Where did they get them?
White. You're the one who should know where they got them. Since you're a gunsmith.
What are you implying, Friedrich? All I'm saying is that they had them.
I apologize,
Herrgott.
sir.
It is eine
Which one?
Schande when
White
outlaws
Tokai.
have better weapons than the city garrison. And Herr König surely knows this too.
What is it, Eldris? You smell a deal?
What I smell is that your stubborn heads do not realize what Schwierigkeiten this is. The Dry Devil is running
Boy,
free.
are you
There
deaf
are
or something?
Raubritter
Why?
everywhere in the
White.
region. We have the army bearing down, and you want to defend yourselves with a few rusty
Sir?
halberds.
And who is it you want to fight, exactly?
Thank
The
you,
merciful
waiter.
King Sigismund is providing us with protection, isn't he?
Der König and his army will not be here forever.
Shut up! The king can arrive at any moment. What if he heard you?
What then? We're sitting atop the biggest silver heap in the kingdom, and we're supposed to defend it with brooms?
I
You're
fancy
right,
some
Eldris.
Tokai.
But where can we get the
Refill, boy.
coin for better equipment?
I apologize,
You can
sir.
always confiscate
Which
the
one?
property of the king's
Tokai.
enemies.
That's the wife.
Nicht wahr?
We are more than familiar with the jämmerlich state of our armory, and the king is surely aware of it as well. Maybe if he waived some of the taxes.
The king fears that this town will rise against him. He'll take the arming of the
Sir?
city's militia as a preparation for war.
So you suggest
Well,
we just
thank
wait
the
with
Lord.
arms crossed for the Raubritter to wreak havoc all around?
เซอร์ไว
You can always ask the king to bring order to the realm with his army.
But then the Dörfler will rise up.
I'm afraid I see no solution of the current situation. We shall wait and see what His Majesty thinks.
เดี๋ยวนะไม่ให้ใครกินนะสรุป
Monastery wine here. Sir.
Well, thank the Lord.
I'd like to report to the Honourable Council on the cleanliness of the city and the state of the public baths.
You mean baths or brothels?
Isn't it the same thing?
So, the cleanliness
Hey,
of the city
youngster,
is not
some red.
what it should be.
I apologise,
Current
sir.
baths in the city fall
Which one?
far short
Red.
of covering all the
Am I
citizens'
speaking
needs.
in Latin?
You're right, Jerome. But a woman named Betty has showed up on Hopbrink and wants to repair the baths that used to be there.
She's a protege of Maresh. Her efforts are commendable, but
Sir?
I don't think she will succeed. It takes a firm hand, not soft, feminine fingers.
A moment ago, you were complaining there weren't enough baths. Shouldn't we support her?
Something like this is better handled
More
by
wine,
trustworthy
Master Bailiff.
people,
I have
like
enough.
my friend, bathhouse proprietor Adam. The need for cleanliness and citizens' health should not be underestimated.
I need something from you. There is an item in my study that I confiscated from a female thief. She thought she could wriggle out of it by telling me.
And
A silver goblet. She sneaked into Sir Ulrich's house and stole it. No one's noticed the theft yet. But if Ulrich finds out, he'll turn the city up. Go and get it. And don't you make a mess there, understand?
where can I find this goblet?
Use your eye and come right.
The Lord wishes to punish the wickedness that's going on in there.
Keeping the city clean is important, but we don't have money to spare. Arguing about who is going to wash where and how is a waste of time.
It's only a waste of time because we're always arguing about the same thing.
Not at all. If you'd finally admit that it's a trifle, we wouldn't have to keep coming back to it.
A trifle.
Nice.
Do you ever walk the
Whose
streets?
silver might this be?
Sewage, rats, slop, and rubbish. The
So, did you
อัน
find
นี้
it?
เควสหลักใช่ไหมใช่เหรอใช่
What?
I did, Master.
Not so loud.
You're
And now go
wanting
back.
something to everyone for free, too.
Why not? In Jerome Nas's earthly
เดลลี่
paradise,
ลำคาญไงแบบ
everything
ชอบ
would
บอก
be
ว่า
free.
ต้องไปนี่ต้องมานี่
Don't
ต้องมา
put
นี่
words
ต้องมา
in
นี่
my
ต้องมา
mouth.
นี่หลายรอบเกินไปแล้วก็เลยต้องมา
let's agree
แล้ว
to
ค่อยไปตัดเข้าเรื่อง
disagree.
กันได้
What if the king heard us?
I got word that
เมื่อไหร่จะหมด
Richard
วะ
has
เนี่ย
pulled
รอ
off
ตาม
another deed.
That's nothing unusual. That old weasel will never accept that the city isn't run his way, at least until His Majesty honors us with his visit. And as we know, Gunslin absolutely hates him.
He can hate all he wants,
And
as
the
long
full
as he
cup.
does no damage. Ulrich, what have you got to say about it?
Me? Well, I'm not sure.
I apologise, sir. Which one?
White to
You
kite.
know full well. Everybody knows. He wiped the floor with you.
Compose yourself,
Well,
Adam, and
thank the
stop
Lord.
drinking. The king might come any time now.
That's right. Let's not burden the anointed monarch with such...
Me? Compose myself.
My friend, your place is at least 2 steps behind.
จำได้เพราะอะไร
A
จำอะไรได้
swordsmith dares to insult me?
จำอะไรได้
Ah! I think not.
Excuse me. You wanted to buy yourself an altar.
ทำเควสให้มั้งดูแล้วน่าจะใช่น่าจะทำเควสให้แหละ
Hey, boy.
How
a full
dare
cup
you.
of monastery wine.
I acquired my
Yes,
seat
sir.
with services
Red wine,
our
sir.
guild provided and still
Red wine for you,
provide
sir.
to the crown.
coming up
Well, I hope you're not supplying equipment to the army. If that's all they have, they would be defeated by that bunch
Thank
of
you.
ne'er-do-wells from the alehouse on Hopbrink.
What ne'er-do-wells?
Those wrestlers of theirs, of course.
อ๋อ น่าจะเป็นคน
People
ที่ทำ
from
เควส
the
ให้
whole
แหละ
town go to watch them brawl.
Oh, this is news to me.
Because it has all been sorted out. Not long ago, the guards raided and threw them all out.
Ah, yes, I had forgotten. What do we have to discuss next?
มาแล้วมาแล้ว
I'm telling you,
ถ้าบอกเลยว่า บางอย่างโดนวางแผนไปแล้ว
I doubt it.
ไม่รู้สินะ
No one's going to tackle Ruta.
ไม่มีคนจัดการลูกหัดหรอกอุ๊ปส์ มาแล้ว จำได้แน่เลย
You have nothing to fear.
ไม่มีอะไรต้องกลัว ไม่ใช่เจ้า โอเค โอเคครับว่าไงก็ว่างั้นครับกับผม
Like this band of fire.
ไม่เหมือนพวกบ้านี่ไง เชียอะไร เอาเนอะโดนด่าแน่เลยซัมไทม์ต่อมาครับ ที่โรเบิร์ชระบอช
Come now, father.
มาเลยหลวงพ่อ
Into your dying.
มีชีวิตชีวาหน่อย
Priests at funerals.
มาดูว่าพระ
I'd rather
เหมือน
be
พระ
at
ในงาน
one
ศพเลย
here. I hoped I'd never see this fortress again in my life.
Unpleasant memories?
You have no idea. I didn't part ways with my father on entirely good terms. 20 years ago.
And now you're 2 decades older and wiser. At your Ujit's parish, you spread the word of God to your flock, and you saved my neck and Henry's too. I'd say your father should be proud of you.
None of that matters a damn to him.
Who knows? Maybe that 20 years has changed a thing or two.
You know what? Let's drop the subject. Do you know any of the guests here?
Most of them I'm seeing for the first time in my life. It's a pretty varied company. We've had bandits, nobles, burghers, a priest, and even a rabbi coming together here. It's like the start of some joke.
Rabbi, you say?
Rabbi.
The Kuttenberg rabbi?
Yeah. He came with a retinue. But for now, they're keeping mostly to themselves. Maybe you should go and welcome some of them. After all, this used to be your home. And you're a spiritual man too, so you should have something in common.
I wouldn't be too sure. But I suppose I can try. Who's that French fellow you brought here from Malashov?
French fellow.
Baron Brabant.
Baron
Been
Brabant.
everywhere, knows everything, and has the keys to half the kingdom. He's got more fairy tales than my old nanny.
Can he be trusted?
He's a blabbermouth, but a harmless one. Besides, he defended Kuttenberg, and you know how that went. If he were on Sigismund's side, he'd hardly have been locked up with me.
How does it feel to breathe free air again?
What can I say? You can never truly appreciate freedom until someone locks you up for a while.
Or until you become a priest?
No fear of that in my case. I intend to enjoy life to the full. Wine, women, and song.
What do you plan to do now you're a free man again?
ทำอะไรบ้าง
What
ฟรี
do
แม
you
น
think?
คิดว่ายังไง
Get
ล่ะ
drunk,
Woo one of the
เมา
local wenches.
ไปหาสาว
Wake up in the morning with no
ๆแล้วก็
hose
ตื่นตอน
and head
เช้า
like a
แบบ
church bell.
ไม่มีกางเกงอยู่แล้วก็ไปบวช
Have you perchance forgotten we're supposed to be deciding the future of the kingdom here?
I'll leave that to the older and wiser. And duller.
Dear me. I'd rather creep off into some corner with a full wineskin. But I suppose I'll have to introduce myself to the rest of the guests, eh?
Indeed you should.
Oh, don't start with that. I'd like to steer clear of the old man as long as I can.
In that case, you should sound out Radzig and Hanush and find out what they're actually planning.
ไปหาพ่อแล้วก็เซอร์ฮันโนชนะครับว่าจะมีแผนอะไรบ้างมีโนโบมีโนโบมีโนโบไม่มีชื่อทางจานจิตการก็เมาเช่นเคยครับมีการ
Such rare guests.
นะ
One
โอกาส
wouldn't expect to
ยาก
find
แล้วเนี่ย
among Christians
หาคริสเตียน
representatives of your
representative community
I'm Godwin.
ข้าก็บิน
My greetings to you.
สวัสดีครับ
Peace be with you.
ขอให้ความส
Later
งบสุข
would
อยู่กับ
one
ท่าน
expect a priest here.
ผมไม่
And
คิดว่าจะ
yet,
มีพระอยู่นี่ และ
How do you
ใน
know
ที่สุด
I'm a priest?
รู้ได้ไงว่าข้าเป็นพระ
It's not difficult to
ไม่
tell.
ยากหรอกที่จะบอก
After
นะ
all, we have much in common.
เรามีบางอย่างที่เหมือน
And
กัน
we are both a little
และเราทั้งสองคน
on
ก็
unfamiliar ground here.
มีปัญหานิดหน่อย
I'm
ด้วยกันเหมือนกัน
Yehuda,
ข้าจะฮูดา
leader of the
หัวหน้าของ
rabbinical court in
รับบิ
the
คอร์ด
sacred community of Gutenberg. And this is
นี่คือ
Samuel,
เซมิเอล
my aide.
คนช่วย
rather not be here at all.
ข้าคงไม่อยากมานี่หรอก
did we have to come here, Sadie?
ทำไมเราต้องมานี่เซ
Can
ดี
you not see everyone is staring at us?
มีแต่คนมอง
Because
เนี่ย
we all need to help
เรา
each
ต้องมี
other in
ความ
this
ช่วย
time of
ถ้าเราต้อง
need.
การความช่วยเหลือ
And
นะ
why would
ทำไม
they not stare
เขาไม่
when
มอง
you are frowning
เจ้า
so?
มองแบบนั้นอ้าวมี
Are you here to arrange some trade?
We have more serious matters to attend to here than gaining a few groschen. The situation in the town and the kingdom is unsustainable. The whole land is on the brink of destruction.
ประเทศกำลังจะล่ม
You
สลาย
have men and weapons.
จะมีคนแล้วก็อาวุธ
We have the means to sustain them.
Why are you telling
เราสามารถ
this
ช่วย
to
ได้
a Khmer? You wanted to deliver what we brought to the Margrave and quickly leave.
Everything in good time, Samuel. We have just arrived, after all.
Did you come to lend money to the lords?
Not to lend, but to give.
ให้เลยแหละ
Help
ไม่
given
ให้
to
ยืม
the
แต่ให้เลย
needy is
ให้เงิน
repaid only by God.
You don't even know if you can trust them. With that money, we could have paid mercenaries ourselves.
You remind me of my young friend Henry. He's a bit of a hothead too.
Henry,
เฮนรี่
that messenger of
เจอ
Radzig
ของราซิ
Kobila.
โคบิละ
You know each other.
เจ้ารู้เหรอเนี่ย
You're both around the same age.
อายุเดียวกัน
That
ใช่ไหม
would
เนี่ย
be him.
นั่น
We
ใช่
did
เขา
not
แน่
get off to a very good start.
ๆเริ่มด้วยไม่ค่อยดีเท่าไหร่
I reckon the two of you would hit it off. He's reliable and has his heart in the right place. For a young stripling, he's been through plenty. It's not so long since his parents were killed in Skalitz. He was supposed to become a blacksmith, and instead, he's roaming the world, risking his neck at every turn.
Wait, a blacksmith, you say? From Skalitz?
Aye, that's right.
แบ็กสมิธจากสกาเลตใช่
Did you know anyone there?
I
รู้อะไรไหม
know
ล่ะ
of someone.
ซัมวัน
A blacksmith by the
ชื่อว่า
name
มา
of
ติน
Martin.
My daughter knew him
ลูก
most,
สาว
and
รู้ทุกอย่าง
that is
และ
why
ซามิโอ
Samuel is in this
อยู่บนโลก
world.
นี้
For our numerous sins.
Maybe he was my father.
ก็อาจจะเป็นพ่อ
But he certainly
พี่น้องกันเลยเดี๋ยวเรา what
Ma raised me on her own.
And that was all for the best.
Why? He
ทำไม
should
อะ
have taken care of me, but instead
คน
he
ดูแลข้า
fathered another bastard.
Don't make hasty judgments. As far as I know, Martin didn't have any other children. At least, none of his own. He took in Henry and raised him as his
เอา
own
เฮนรี่มาแล้วก็
on the orders of the Lord of Skalitz, Sir
โดย
Radzig Kobila,
อำนาจของลอสกาเลตนะ
Henry's
ครับเฮนรี่
real father.
พ่อจ
I
ริงๆ
don't
นะ
care if he took care of 20 other mamsas.
That boy's blood father denied him, just like yours did to you.
A person can't choose their parents. And Henry only found out about it recently.
Enough. I'd rather have a drink. Will you have one too, Zayde?
For that, there will be more suitable times.
good health
Good health.
L'chaim.
สรุปว่าพี่ชายเราแล้วเนี่ย ฟักไม่เชิงว่าพี่ชายแท้ๆแต่ไม่ใช่พี่ชายแท้ๆมันกับอะไรนะลูกพี่ลูกน้องไป
Good health to you, sir.
Body
Baron
hand.
Vauclin Brabant, Chevalier d'Arezzo. The last of my line. I am a warrior, a traveler, a strategist, and also, à ma manière, a poet.
My word. Isn't that exhausting?
Mais non! And I'm glad to meet a new friend.
How did you end up imprisoned in Malashov?
Ah, c'est une histoire compliquée. It was
Story
after
is
I
complicated.
heroically led the defense
It's
of Gutenberg,
complicated.
and only lost it
อ่านยากนะ
narrowly by an
สร้างเสร็จอะ
unfortunate turn of events.
That needs some explanation.
ต้องอธิบายเพิ่มหน่อย
What unfortunate turn of
เกิด
events?
ปัญหาอะไรขึ้นบ้าง
Ah, misère. It is clear you have never been to war.
So, be so kind as to enlighten me.
When they broke through the defense, I ended up in captivity. It was only due to my acquaintances in a court that I escaped execution.
Oh. I thought it was Henry who saved your neck.
My neck was not at risk in Malashov. I may have still been a prisoner with my personal freedom restricted, but they never broke my spirit.
Where have you been on your...
But of course, if you are interested in my greatest...
And you wouldn't by any chance know that...
Which one do you mean?
How come almost nobody here...
I am operating as my great benefit is my strong connection with the French court. There, everyone knows my name. Here in Bohemia, I'm still building my reputation, slowly but surely.
You say you're a poet?
Jamais. I think not.
Whoops.
Dear friends and
เพื่อนทุกคน
allies,
และมิตรสหายทุกท่าน
in these troublesome
ในเวลา
times, you
ยาก
all
นี้
know
นะ
why we're
จะรู้
here.
ว่าทำไมเรามาที่นี่
The question remains
คำถามเหลืออยู่ก็คือ
what to do next.
จะทำยังไงต่อ
Sigismund is
ซิกกิต
facing
บุญเจอปัญหา
troubles in
ที่
Hungary.
ฮังการี
And here too,
ที่นี่ด้วย
resistance.
ก็มีปัญหา
He's a capable strategist, but a poor diplomat. Mark my words.
ฟังเขาพูดเข้าไว้
If
นะ
we wait him out until
ถ้าเราร
winter,
อ
he will
จนกระทั่ง
leave of
ฤ
his
ดูห
own
นาว
accord.
เขาจะไป
By
เอง
winter, he'll
Now,
have
Lord.
torched all our fortresses
เขาจะเผา
and
ทุก
carried
ทางทิ้ง
off everything that we possess.
และจัดการที่เรา
Are
มี
we
อยู่
seriously gonna wait?
เราต้องการจะรอ
Cower in a corner?
อยู่ใน
Or are
รู
we gonna
นั่นนะ
drive
อยู่ใน
them
มุม
out in
เราจะ
shame?
ไล่มันออกไปด้วยความ
A few well-planned raids,
ถ้ามี
and
แผน
we
ดี
could have him in
ๆ
our
เราจะ
fists.
จัดการมันได้
At
ด้วย
what
มือ
price? Have you got
จ่ายอะไร
men to spare?
มีคนไหมล่ะ
Has any of you got
ใคร
men and
มีเงิน
money to
มี
spare?
ทหารพอ
We don't have men out there.
Yes,
Well,
we
maybe
do.
We do not.
Jobst is right. That whole sun won't fall easily.
Only we can't wait.
Are we to get ourselves killed?
Or end with nothing.
Oh no.
Friends,
เพื่อน
we'll get nowhere like
เราจะ
this.
ไปไหนไม่ได้หรอกตอนนี้
Let's adjourn ourselves and try
เรา
to
มา
think it through.
พยายามคิดไปด้วยกัน
Well, that went just as expected.
นั่นเป็นไปได้ดูดีเลยนะเนี่ย
And to
เพื่อ
yours.
สุขภาพเพื่อเจ้าด้วย
Could it have gone any other way when there's so
คน
many
อาจ
of us here?
I would have
เป็นไปได้ดูดี
expected
กว่า
a
นี้
bit more sense from Jobst of all people. He made an amateur's mistake. But it's hard to be angry with him when he's trying to ingratiate himself with everyone. By the way, I'm John of Liechtenstein. And you must be Godwin, the son
ก็
of...
วิน
That's
son
not
of
a thing I've ever
ไม่
boasted of.
ต้องบอกหรอก
How do you know that?
จะรู้
I
ได้ไง
have my sources.
ข้า
From
มี
what
ข่าว
I've
นะ
heard about
แต่ได้ยิน
you,
จากเจ้า
I'd judge you could be quite useful to me at today's gathering.
Is that so?
Indeed. And that's why I'd like to ask something of you.
It depends what it's all about.
A little delicate diplomacy. I expect we can agree that Jobst's plan has certain shortcomings.
That's a weak word.
And the way it stands at the moment, he'll never get the support of the council. But I have an idea how to change that.
Well, I'm curious how you hope to shut Zizka up and satisfy the ones who want peace.
We'll sit and wait quietly until Sigismund withdraws of his own volition, as Jobst proposes, but we'll be waiting in the military camp of our huge new army.
If Sigismund decides to mount an attack on the camp, it'd be a massacre.
Ah, but it won't. Sigismund's army is demoralized and weakened. And besides, he's running out of resources. He's able to tackle fortresses that aren't able to defend themselves, but he won't engage an equal force on the battlefield.
But he can't retreat either. That would be a disgrace.
And that's exactly why we'll wait until he's called back to Hungary by events there. For the plan to work, we need allies, their money and their determination. We've already set the ground for it. We just need negotiators who will push the right people in the right direction.
Are you saying you set everything in motion even before Jobst?
More like in parallel, but without his knowledge. If we find support and make it look like the whole thing was his idea, we'll all win.
You've got an interesting way of approaching things.
You're certainly not the first to tell me that. I take it as a compliment.
Why are you doing all this anyway?
Because I want to put a stop to the senseless deaths, and also because I'm happier with Wenceslas on the Bohemian throne.
I'll help you. What exactly should I do?
ต้องทำยังไงถ้า
I'll
จะช่วย
give
เนี่
you
ย
3 names.
3 คน
Bocek of
วอตเช็ค
Kunstadt,
คุณสตาร์
Haman Alda, and
Haman Alda
Anna of Waldstein.
Anna
If you can
Waldstein
get those 3 on our side,
เอาฝั่งเรา
we've won the day. Meanwhile, I'll take care of Jobst.
เขาจะจัดการจอบเอง
What if it doesn't work?
I refuse to even consider.
Why me?
Because you've got a head on your shoulders. You know how to talk, and you're not just out for your own good. You and your friend Henry are similar in that respect. That's why I know I can count on you both. There aren't many like you two left.
Tell me a bit more about those people.
Certainly.
Bocek of Kunstadt.
วอตเช็คเอาคุณสตาร์
I know the
รู้
name,
ชื่อ
but I can't quite place him.
That's just the thing. He's got massive estates, great influence, but he holds back. He doesn't play the big game because he doesn't like to take risks. He always goes for the sure thing. But once he's made his mind up, not even a pair of oxen will hold him back.
Alder the Alderman. Wasn't he a Kuttenberg councillor?
He still is. The only one who retained his position after the city was taken. Only he's here, instead of cozying up with Sigismund in Kuttenberg. So his days in the council are numbered. But he'll continue to have a strong influence on the guilds and the rich burghers. And that's why we need him.
Anna of Waldstein. The widow of that rich mine owner. What was his name?
Wenzel Bartosz. And I'm not surprised you forgot.
I was quite surprised to see her here. Assemblies like this are more of a...
A male affair? So far, Godwin, so far. Anna is holding back and behaving like an exemplary young widow. But don't trust appearances. She's got claws, she knows how to do her sums, and she certainly has no love lost for Sigismund.
And what use can she be to us?
She's as sharp as they come when it comes to trade. And she knows that there are wicked tongues that claim and that it was thanks to her that he died.
I'd like to check your horses out and see if they're as good as you say.
Pah, even better. But you won't believe it until you see for yourself.
And you might not believe your eyes when you do see them. Well, well, we have a new guest.
มีแขกคนใหม่
I wanted to...
ข้าแค่จะ
You wanted to apologize for crashing into my home without it
มาบ้าน
by
ข้า
your leave. Or to arrest my guests some more?
I want to have a word with Alder.
Well, I'm having a word with you.
I apologize, Father.
For interrupting our conversation? Or just for being you?
Is that your
Unfortunately. Speak up then. What are you doing here?
I came with a delegation from Sir Hanush of Lipa.
Is this a joke?
Why so strict, Martin?
20 years ago, he was nothing but a cheeky brat, only interested in wenches and booze. I got him a place at the Archbishopric to have some sense beaten into his head. Only it wasn't long before they kicked him out. And then I find out he's settled in some backwater parish in Sassau. But he took his boozing and whoring along with him, lost everything, and then came creeping home again. Huh?
Try saying it again a little louder. They might not have heard you in the outer courtyard.
You have the impertinence to show me your face after the way you disgraced our whole family?
I wouldn't set foot here if I had a choice. Better to be a priest in some backwater than have a father like you.
How dare you?
You're as shit a father as I am a son. We've got nothing to blame each other for. And now let me speak to Older.
You're dishonoring your host.
I can't dishonor someone who has no honor. If you had any, you'd
Godwin
That's enough.
พอแล้ว
Christopher.
You won't get away with those insults. I challenge you to a duel.
We've never met, and we have no cause to be enemies. Take back your challenge, and we'll sort things out peacefully.
You've got no other option. You insulted Father's honor.
Gentlemen, surely there's no need for violence. I can have a word in private with Lord Odorin, the second, as he desires, and then...
Out of the question. This uncouth lout needs a lesson, and he's got plenty to learn from Christopher. By God's grace, I have at least one son I can be proud of.
You want satisfaction? You'll get nothing but shame. As always. Suit yourself, then. We'll fight. Come to the outer courtyard, but quietly. We don't have to put on a show for the crowd.
After you.
Well, that's that. Now, where were we?
Shouldn't we rather...
No, Christopher will sort it out, you'll see.
ทำไมเราต้อง
Room for us. We'll just settle a very private matter. It's an honorable duel, man against man. Stay back.
Left arm lower!
That was sneaky.
That!
Your right side! You've got a gap there I can drive a cart through!
That was sneaky. Did they teach you that in the seminary? Not
You
bad
don't
for a
know which
priest.
end of that thing is up!
You're fast.
ก็บินเนี่ยง่ายมาก
Look at my eyes, not my sword! What's wrong with your legs?
That will do. My God. Where did you learn to wield a sword like that? Father always said you were a good...
I was in a war.
ก็ทำสงคราม
Right after they kicked me out
หลั
of
ง
the
จากที่เตะออก
Archbishopric.
จาก
And
Archbishopric
you want to know yourself.
เจ้าก็รู้ใช่ไหมล่ะ
Not all the faults that father sees
ไม่ใช่
are
สิ่งว่า
real.
พ่อบอกว่ามันถูกต้องทุกอย่าง
I apologize for going
ข้า
off
ขอ
like
โทษ
that.
ที่
I
เกิดการ
had
ตรงนั้น
to, so that...
ถ้าแบ
So
บ
father would be satisfied.
พ่อจะได้
I
เนี่ย
know.
พอใจ
Only he'll
ข้ารู้
never be satisfied.
เขาไม่เคยพอใจ
The
เลยหรอก
sooner you realize that,
เจ้า
the
จะรู้
better.
เอง
I thought he was the way he was because his first son let him down. And he hoped at least his second would become something.
And no luck again, eh? When I was 6 years old, I fell off a horse and broke my leg. He wouldn't talk to me for a week because I'd let him down.
The first time he took me hunting, he let me starve for 3 days until I was able to shoot my first hare.
Only 3 days. he got soft.
I always wondered who you were. There was never much talk about you at home.
Look, I really did fuck up everything I could. I brawled and boozed until they threw me out of my own parish. But now, I have a chance to put things to rights a little.
And that's why you want to talk to Alder.
I've got to get him on our side and to cooperate with us.
Aren't we all on the same side?
Maybe everyone's saying that. But it's time to put it into action.
After your encounter with Father, it won't be easy to get to Alder. Actually, I don't think you should even attempt it. Unless you want to anger Father even more.
What else can I do, though?
I'll talk to him myself. He'll hear me out for sure. But you'll have to trust me. And tell me what it's all about.
All right, then. You've heard Yob's plan, right? It's a nice idea, but we can't wait around without an army to back us up.
Only no one's going to pay for one, because that would be an outright admission of rebelling against Sigismund.
Alder's got some clout with the councillors and burghers who are loyal to Sigismund. If he agrees, they'll follow.
I expect Alder's not the only one you're after.
You got that right.
Leave Alder to me. The plan sounds sensible, and he's no fool.
I don't know how to thank you.
You can drag me to a tavern sometime. Pa doesn't need to know about it.
You're starting to sound like a brother.
มีเหตุผล
Godwin, we didn't have much
Godwin.
time for conversation.
With pleasure, sir. I couldn't help but notice your son has a bit of a talent for getting into trouble.
To put it mildly, but not to do him an injustice, knowing young Lord Capon, he undoubtedly contributed to that more than a little. Although, if they didn't pull each other out of trouble, God knows where they'd be now.
Wise words. Still, Henry's come a long way on a thorny path. I trust you're rightfully proud of him.
You know, I am. And Martin would also be glad, even though Henry chose a different path than he.
May God grant him eternal rest. Where did you...
Haven't you heard? Lady Stephanie is with child.
Lady Stephanie
No one
มี
even
ลูก
imagined Divish would produce an heir at his age.
As they say,
ลูก
doesn't
เคนลี่
matter who kneaded the dough, as long as there's a pie in the oven.
Godwin.
Well... What do you...
Well, but as long as we proceed...
เซราสิกก็เซราสิกนั่นแหละครับ
Sir Bochek, I need to
เซโบ
speak
เชก
with you.
ข้าอยากคุยกับเท่า
A man hardly puts his cup to his lips and someone comes along to put a flea in his ear. Yobs comes up with a plan as full of holes as a beggar's shoes, and now you're all jostling to win me over for him.
On the contrary, I've come here with an idea how to improve it.
Does that improvement include a few thousand men at arms? If not, you can go to the devil with it.
A few thousand men at arms as a convincing argument. And 100 horsemen on top. Only in order to get them, we need coin.
You've got my attention, but not my money yet.
How can I persuade you?
I need guarantees of security. I don't want to end up like Rutard.
Of course. Once it comes to protecting property, ideals go out the window.
You can talk, since you haven't got a pot to piss in yourself. If you were in my position, you'd think differently. I have a lot of property, lots of subjects to look after, and along with that, the Lord blessed me with a large family. I can't risk it all in a conflict with Sigismund.
So you need guarantees that you won't be left standing in the cold if you openly oppose Sigismund.
My guarantee is called Yitka. She's my niece. If I succeeded in marrying her off to another strong house, I'll have the certainty that I won't be left alone.
Maybe it's enough to find a suitable groom among the allies.
Perhaps someone of suitable standing who Yitka would also gladly accept. I don't want her to be unhappy.
I believe Liechtenstein is single.
And an uncertain party. Besides, he's inconvenient for Sigismund. Yitka could end up being a pawn to blackmail both of us.
How about...
He's a young...
He may be young, but He's got something between his ears. He's got battle experience. And when he gets the estate that's his by right, he'll be well secured for life.
If he gets it. Right now, Hanush lords over Rattay and seems quite happy with that state of affairs. On the other hand, the lords of Lipa have a good reputation, and Hanush can always be relied on despite his temper. Maybe it's not such a bad idea.
I'll convey your offer to Lord Capon. If he agrees, we can celebrate our alliance.
I don't care what the young lord thinks. Hanush is the one to decide. If he agrees, I'll be happy to support your plan.
Pushing a friend to tie the knot to save the kingdom. Things have come to a pretty pass.
The kingdom will not forget his sacrifice.
I've got some good news
มี
and
ข่าว
some bad news.
แล้วก็ข่าวร้าย
The bad news is there's hardly any females in this whole damned place. There's some old bat standing there with two young girls, but she watches over them like a mother hen. So at least tell me the good news.
You're going to get married.
Good one. Is she at least pretty?
I don't know. I've never
ข้าไม่
seen
รู้
her.
ไม่เห็น
You're really a barrel of laughs, Godwin.
เออ
Wait till Hanush hears this. Now.
To
Do
your
you have-
health.
ได้ขำแน่ได้ขำแน่เพื่อนได้จัดไปได้ขำแน่ๆอ่า
My last Russian, he's setting the stage for...
Sir Hanush, I
Hanush.
bring happy tidings.
You do?
มีข่าวมา
Let's hear it then.
I've gained us a powerful ally.
And who is it? I hope it's not one of those Kuttenberg stuffed guts.
On the contrary, it's Bocek, the elder of Kunstadt and Podjebrad.
Kunstadt? My Christ, he's the last one I'd have expected to step up. How the hell did you do it?
Well, there's one little catch. I had to promise him... I don't even know how to begin.
Out with it.
พูดมา
Lord Kunstadt
คุณ
has
ซา
a
มี
niece.
พี่สาวน้องสาวก็
I arranged a betrothal for young Lord Capon, with your blessing if you agree.
Hans Capon is to marry Yitka of Kunstadt. Godwin, you conniving old bastard!
Oh, fuck.
I don't believe it. So, young Hans is to marry Kunstadt's daughter?
Niece.
If you're serious, I'll make sure that you...
Or you could...
Forget it. Not a word to Hans.
God be with you, noble lady. There's something I'd like to ask of you.
God be with you. What would that be?
Your diplomatic support. And your money.
No beating around the bush, eh? I like that.
เมาอ่ะ
But what do you want my money for?
Margrave Yob's plan has some gaps, milady. We need to gather enough resources to...
To muster an army that Margrave can't afford on his own?
Christ. Be praised. You're astute.
I should say so. All sorts of people have their eyes on my money, and divining their intentions is a necessity. Although, between the
เงิน
two
ล่ะ
of
เป็นเงิน
us,
เอาเงิน
it isn't
จากเฮน
hard
รี่
to
ไป
figure out what
เฮนรี่มันยังเยอะเลย
Liechtenstein is after.
50,000
How do you know Liechtenstein's behind it?
I know most of the people here very well. Many of them certainly have doubts about the Margrave's plans. But they wouldn't dream of stating them aloud. While it seems that Lord Liechtenstein, on the contrary, sees his opportunity.
I'd say you have a better nose for people than most of this crowd.
Not only for people, but also for good food and wine.
You manage large estates. In return for your generosity, we offer you protection.
I've managed quite well up to now, taking care of my own resources. If you want me to support you, you must give me a good reason. Perhaps a favor in return.
Do you have something in particular in mind?
Well, one of the guests here has something that shouldn't get into the wrong hands.
Who's that?
Harmon Alder. Now, if you were to switch these papers for the ones he brought with him, I would support your proposal.
I've got those papers from Alder for you.
Quiet! You don't have to announce it to everyone.
Milady, with all the clamor going on here, I can hardly hear my own thoughts. Here they are.
You're more capable than I expected. Thanks for the help.
You're welcome. And now you're part of the bargain.
As agreed. I will support Liechtenstein's proposal with both words and money.
Thank you, noble lady. God will...
Yes, quite. But let's drink to our bargain, Godwin.
Gentlemen, I think we can raise our goblets to the successful conclusion of the negotiations.
Is this supposed to be your secret weapon?
Like I said, miracles happen where you least expect them. Tell me, Godwin of the House of Odorin, what news do you bring us?
I bring nothing from the House of Odorin. But the widow of Waldstein and Sir Bocek of Kunstadt will support our cause.
Both of them? Good heavens, what did you promise them?
This is going to be a long story, and I could use a drink. So if you'll excuse me, my lords?
It would seem that we have all benefited from the break in these proceedings. New alliances have been formed. And I have also changed my plans. We shall still wait for Sigismund to withdraw his troops of his own accord. But we will wait with an army at our backs.
And how are we to raise an army? Wasn't it made clear at the meeting that no one wants to take the risk?
The only thing made clear was that each of us alone is weak, and that we could not find common ground. But that has now changed.
King Wenceslas is, by the will of God, the Balbatim of all his subjects. Not only the Christians, our community, and not only ours. They'll give you coin.
The Kuttenberg houses are still loyal to King Wenceslas. And we stand with Lord Ruthar.
And if that's not enough, the houses of Leipa and Kunstadt will unite and march side by side.
My niece, Yitka, will take young Lord Capon as her husband.
Oh no เสื้อหานคงจะแบบชิบหายแล้ว political merit ก็งั้นละครับแย่หน่อยนะเสื้อหานโอ้
Lords Kunstadt, Hanush, Radzig, and I will set out immediately. God willing, we will be back within 3 weeks, along with an army.
Now those are words worthy of a nobleman.
My friend, I still believe that words are more powerful than swords. And our words will ring in 1,000 voices to the glory of King Wenceslas.
ทหารคงจะแย่แล้ว